Hello all saints, the Lord be with you. Around 1600, Johannes Kepler worked out the mathematical mystery of the orbit of the planets. He had thought they went around in circles, but his calculations and observations led him to believe that they worked in elliptical orbits. He worked out all the mathematical formulae to work out how the planets rotated around the Sun, so that he could describe all of the paths of the planets at any time from any part of Earth. And so he was a believer, Kepler, and he started to calculate which planets could have been seen from Mesopotamia around the time of Jesus' birth. This is where the Magi came from. He was hindered, of course, because he didn't know the exact year of Jesus' birth, but what he did discover after his calculations, well, they took a long time, of course, that around about 7 BC, something significant was happening with Jupiter. Nowadays, of course, computer programs and other advances in astronomical observations allow us to get a picture of the night sky at any point in time and any location on the Earth. And indeed, as people thought about this star that appeared to the Magi, in the past, of course, some people have thought it was just a miracle. Others have thought maybe it was a comet or perhaps a supernova. The difficulty with that is that there doesn't seem to be any record of anyone else observing this, because many people were observing the heavens, the Chinese and other people, but no record anywhere of something such as that happening. So perhaps something else was happening. Kepler himself thought that it had something to do with the conjunction of planets, including Jupiter, around about 7 BC. In more recent times, another scientist called Molnar, he's been observing and calculating these things. He thinks that around about 6 BC, there was not only a rising of Jupiter in the constellation of Aries, but the moon and some of the other planets were also coming together in a very strange way. Now, Aries, for the old astrologers of the Magi's time, was associated with the people of the Jews. And so, although it wasn't visible to anybody who didn't know what they were looking for the people who studied the heavens, astrologers, well, I guess they were astrologers and astronomers together, they observed something strange happening in this part of the night sky. Not only that, this was probably in April 6 BC, but later on in December 6 BC, something else happened with Jupiter that was also quite strange and odd. And both of these together might give us a clue that in the first case, the Magi saw something significant that they thought was connected with the people of the Jews, so significant that they had to travel to Jerusalem to find out about what they guessed was the birth of a very significant new king. But the December one perhaps is the thing that pointed them again in a different way to where the child was in Bethlehem. Now, was God giving the Magi some kind of secret message in the sky? Well, no, because they had to go to the Jewish scholars to find out what the sign meant. The Jewish scholars pointed them to Bethlehem. They understood about the birth of the king. But it's surprising, of course, that the Jewish scholars didn't pursue it, but the foreign Magi did. They came to worship the king. The others were part of Herod's crowd who wanted to kill him, in fact. But the meaning of what was in the sky wasn't found in the sky. They had to find out from the scriptures what the meaning was. And although the meaning of it escaped the scholars, these Magi, who were probably part of the elite ruling class of their country, as well as scientists in their own right, they came and brought their worship to this new king and brought him gifts. So why did God do this? And why did he do it like this? One of the reasons, I think, is that when the Creator took human flesh, the whole creation was involved in pointing to this great event. It's not the only time, of course, that God has used the sky as a signboard. That happened in Noah's day. It was prophesied by Joel about the heavens being darkened. It happened at the crucifixion when the whole sky was dark, and on other occasions as well. So it's not surprising that God would use natural phenomena to point to the birth of his Son. The announcement to the shepherds was the same kind of dramatic light show. The very beginning of Jesus' life on earth is marked by the creation itself standing up and pointing. But the other thing about the visit of the Magi is that they're foreigners. And right at the beginning of Matthew's Gospel, the way that it ends is the same. God clearly has an interest in foreigners. These are the ones, and the contrast is marked quite clearly, because they come to Jerusalem, they come to Herod the king, they come to the Jewish scholars, they're pointed to where the Messiah will be, but it's the foreigners who worship him. And right at the end of the Gospel, Jesus gives a command to his disciples, you and me included, I think. Because he has all authority in heaven and on earth, they're to go and make disciples of all the nations. And here, if you like, is a little foretaste that the people from Mesopotamia were included in God's great purpose, that they too should become servants of this great King. Worshippers, servants, ambassadors, but people whom the King protects and looks after, whom he came to die for. And at the beginning of his life on earth, the creation itself points to something dramatically significant, which a few people spotted, and they came and worshipped him. We now have a great deal more information, but we too and our friends still can worship the same King.